Hey guys, I'm gonna go over the Enhancement Shaman talent tree. Just kind of doing a basic covering of it. I'm gonna go over kind of what I use um, and why I use these abilities. Okay, let's start off with level 15. I use Nature's Guardian because for me it outweighs the other two. Every 30 seconds, you get a chance to catch yourself back up because what happens is if you're dropped below 30% hit points, what'll happen is that you get a 25% health increase. So if you got like 400k, it'll put you up to 500k. So that's like getting 100k heal. But keep in mind it only lasts for 10 seconds. So you got 10 seconds to get a Maelstrom proc off and heal yourself or get that 10% back and then some, or you're going to be screwed. So it's really good with healing comps. If you want more survivability, then yeah, go with Ancestral Shift. If you're running with the Turbo Cleave and you just plan on going in and bursting somebody, switch to this and it'll give you more survivability. You can also macro that in with your Shamanistic Rage. So level 30, I use Earth Grab because what I'll do is I macro that in with my capacitor. So when I drop an Earth Grab, it drops the capacitor, and then I can totally project the capacitor and Earth Grab right to where I want to go. So it's really handy. That's what I primarily use. Frozen Power for me is more for one-on-one dueling or world PvP, so on. Now, if you're running fives and or fives, threes, or RBGs, and you run into a heavy CC comp like Frost Mages. I use it mostly when I run into Boomkins, and they drop that Tam Vortex and the Solar Beam. I can drop that and get everybody out of it, so that's where that would be handy. The only one I use on the level 45 is Totemic Projection, like I said a minute ago. I use that all the time for Earth Grab and Capacitor. That also allows me to catch people that are kiting me. It's got so many good uses, you know. If your Frost Shock's on DR, you can use this. You can rotate between this and Frost Shock and keep the DR down. Diminishing returns pretty good, so that's the one I use. I don't really use the other two. Level 60, I primarily use the Elemental Mastery. For me, really, that's the only option because shamans need haste first, then mastery. And this 30% extra haste, it lowers your global cooldowns, it increases the procs that you'll get from Maelstrom weapon, and it increases your damage. So I mean that's pretty hot. I actually macro that in with my one shot, so it'll increase your damage a lot when you go to burst. So that's what this spec's mainly built for, is bursting. So Ancestral Guidance, I use that kind of as a emergency oops, I'm about to die and I need some heals, or if my partner needs some heals, I got that macroed in as well with my one shot. So that way, as long as they don't CC you or disarm you, and you hit your one shot and you got this on, they're not going to kill you. You're going to stay basically at 100%. So, yeah. On the level 90, I use Elemental Blast because of the new buff to it. I don't really use Unleashed Fury because for me that's more PvE. Yes, it's more sustained DPS, but in PvP now it seems like Burst is where it's at. So the Elemental Blast, if you got a Storm Strike up in 5.4, the Storm Strike, the increased crit chance to any nature damage now affects Elemental Blast. So you're going to crit. You got 25% extra chance to crit on Elemental Blast. So it's going to hit for 90 to 180k depending on your spec, what procs you have going, so on and so forth. Now, I do use Primal Elementalist, but only if I'm running if I want some extra CC per se, and I might use my Earth Elemental, macro it in to use a stun, because he does stun people, which is really handy with like a rogue comp or CC heavy comp where you're trying to CC really heavy, like if you're facing healer teams or somebody that's really that can be CC'd, and is going to do a lot of damage. But I really don't use it that much anymore. They really nerf Fire Elementals hard. I used to use Fire Elemental and use the Empowerment as well to increase my damage. I'd pop that in the macro and pop a sentence, and it would I'd blow stuff up big time. But they nerfed the damage of Fire Elemental. That kind of sucks, but they kind of needed to. It was pretty OP. I also use the Reinforce ability from Earth Elemental. Reduces all damage by 20% and increases all heals you receive by 10. That's pretty nice too if you want some extra survivability. So Well, that's kind of what I spec, guys. You know, if you have any questions or concerns, feel free to comment, and I'm going to keep making videos. I will be making some more videos on different comps you can run with enhancement. I think the last one I did was a turbo cleave of the warrior. So make sure you subscribe and like the videos, and I will catch you guys later. Late.